hard to get rid of the guy who's always there. I'm just
anti-self-care.
It's
a hot take.
No, it's not.
Good morning, everybody.
Well, you know what? You have even more time for self-care if you're unemployed. Like, you got all the time in the world if you're just scanning the job listings. And Cam Newton missed basically a week of work for totally preventable reasons, and now all of a sudden he might have a lot more of missed work for preventable reasons, which is Mac Jones might take his job. And Greg, I think Bill Belichick wanted and planned and hoped to start Cam Newton week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. I think those wants and plans and hopes are now very much in the air, and I don't know that Belichick wants to do that anymore anyway. So, yeah, I don't think Mac Jones has officially won the competition. But I guarantee you it is closer right now than it has been at any moment since the Patriots put the pick in, and that's Cam's own doing, and a credit to evidently how well Mac Jones has played over these last few days of practice.
Yeah, well, Mac Jones obviously has done his job because he has everyone in New England talking about him and his performance, which is what you want to do when you are given this type of an opportunity. Cam, on the other hand, he's done what most veteran players thinks is okay and that they can get away with because of what they've done and what history has proven and provided and shown us that I am this player. I am great. I can bounce back. But when you decide to do something that puts the team in harm or in jeopardy or puts a coach in an unknown and unfamiliar territory, it is hard to rebuild and restack that trust. And so when I look at what Tom Curran is saying, I find it hard to believe that Mac Jones has outright won the job in 5 practices. However, I will say this. I've been in a situation when I first got into Green Bay, and I was in a very, very competitive receiver room. Donald Driver was the #1 guy, and we didn't know who was going to be #2. Robert Ferguson was the guy. There was Rod Gardner, former first-round pick, a lot of other guys. And
tell us how you took their job, Greg. Tell us how you did it. I want to hear it.
A couple of those guys got injured. I was healthy. I was there every single day. I performed excellent every single day. I popped
put the team on your back
every single day. And I put the team on my back.
Yeah.
But it created an open door for me to be the only one being seen and talked about. And in this situation, that is what Cam Newton has provided for Mac Jones, which is why, Wilds, it is going to be a much more difficult situation and decision for Bill Belichick and staff to just outright hand the job to Cam Newton.
Yeah, so I think he might end up handing the job to Mac Jones. And this has been a rising tide. Oddly, we haven't seen any video of this practice. We've just seen a bunch of reports. So I was in a kind of a tough spot. I was like, I can't get up to Foxborough. There's no video. So, football season's coming. So I had to send a friend. Old Ulysses comes back with a report from Foxborough. Guess who is returned from Foxborough with the news? Oh, he's a little bit damaged, but he's back. Oh, it's a long trip from New England, my friend. It's okay. If we can show the petition of some of the news that he has brought back to me, I'm listening. Don't worry, Ulysses. Boom, Mac meeting the moment from Mike Reese. What else do we have? I think our guy Evan says Mac shredded the Giants starting defense. Jeff Howe gave us a double whammy there. Mac had 18 consecutive completions and also a surgical 35 for 40. I don't want to get too excited, although I am excited, and I brought a bird onto the set. But Nick, and this is just practice, but you know what it felt like? You know who else started to make a lot of noise in practice? Old Patrick Mahomes. You started to hear the rumblings out of Kansas City. Ooh, this Mahomes kid in practice, he's doing things that we've never seen before. Have you seen reviews like this out of a guy that there was question marks about? I don't know, Mac Jones. It has been overwhelming. It's
Surgical,
overwhelming.
Nick.
Not one person said, hey, you know what, Mac Jones, okay. You know, it's the one person who didn't like Forrest Gump. Like, not a fan. Like, what? Stop trying to be unique. It's like your take on self-care. You're like, everyone agrees with it. Not me. No one. He went 100 for 100 for reviews, 100% on the Mac Jones Rotten Tomatoes rookie QB rating. I couldn't be happier.
I wanted to be with you. Well, all right, I'm happy for you, and I wanted to be with you. But you're like a gymnast that has these unbelievable in-the-air vault routines, and then every time when it's time to land, not only do you not stick the landing, you like end up falling off the apparatus entirely. Like, it always happens. You have the makings of a great take, and then you can't land it. You're like, hey, you know what it reminds me of? Mahomes. No, it reminds me of almost all the reviews we typically get about a guy who had a good practice. But that's not the point. The point is they were really good reviews about a guy who had a good practice, and the other guy's reviews are nothing because he was on Zoom. So I'm not ready to like give it 100 out of 100 Rotten Tomatoes rating, but the other movie's not in theaters anymore. And so that, and this is like a tale as old as time. The younger, cheaper person, I'm not talking about in sports, just in the workplace, is there. The veteran, more expensive stalwart for, takes vacation, takes time off. All of a sudden, the bosses are like, hey, that guy can do the same thing the other guy does, or maybe can grow into the job, and gosh, it sure looks like he's going to be around longer, and he's under contract longer, and he's less expensive. Why don't we just go with him? That is what happens across workplaces in America every day. And it is what the NFL has built a massive amount of its business model on, which is why, to Greg's point, if you get injured, there's nothing you can do. But what you need to not do in New England is get caught in a snowstorm, you know what I mean, have reasons that you could have been there, but you're not. And this is a 5-day ordeal for Cam that was totally preventable. And I think, Greg, I'm going to, mix the metaphor a little bit more. To me, this is now for Cam, the COVID stuff, or the COVID protocol stuff, is going to be treated almost like a player with a nagging injury. Meaning like, okay, even when he gets back to full health, we know he's here now, but do we have to worry about this flaring up again? Like a guy with a hammy that gets tight on him. Because until he gets vaccinated, and it looks like he won't, they are going to have this hanging over their head repeatedly, which is he going to have to be pulled away again? And at that position for this organization, I don't know that that's a tenable situation.
For any organization, Nick, the one thing that is completely talked about all the time is don't hurt the team. When teams have a big win and the coach gives an extended amount of time, Victory Mondays we call it, the first thing and the first message that is spread is don't be smart, don't do anything to hurt the team, don't do anything that puts us in a position to where we have to answer questions for you. And I get it. It's a choice. It's a decision that every individual has to make who has that right of being vaccinated or not. However, it puts Cam Newton in a tough situation. And for a coach and an organization who has the mantra of do your job,